Hello. Welcome back and good afternoon/evening because we're airing in the UK as well. So, warm welcome goes out to our phenomenal supporters and our viewers on this trend-setting Thursday. And this afternoon/evening, we have the pleasure to interview on House Call the amazing entrepreneur, PR guru, music producer, and record label CEO, Mr. Raj Singh. How are you today?
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Firstly, I want to say I am honored to be on your show. And I want to say good afternoon to you guys. Yes, and good evening from the UK, London.
Yes.
I'm absolutely fantastic. Thank you. It's been a
Yes.
busy day. It's actually my mother's birthday today, so yeah.
Happy birthday to your mom. See?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How you
Yes,
been?
uh, it's been amazing. Of course, we talk all the time. So we were in a room together and amazing things because we're always networking in the same circles. And,
Yeah.
Now like we call each other brother and sister. So I'm loving
Cool.
it. And I just cannot wait to let all the viewers in the world know how much we have planned. Especially thank you goes out to, of course, our media team, yours, exclusive PR, as well as
Yeah.
our media team here in the US, InDaHouseMedia and Dr. Doran himself. So thank you guys. Absolutely looking forward to everything. Now, Raj, I really appreciate you taking this opportunity to discuss the networking world of marketing and business with us. And first and foremost, we're just going to dive in. What was your key driving force to become an entrepreneur?
I think it was my personal circumstances because I feel in the 90s here in the UK, there was a absolute huge recession. And what happened was my father, he lost everything in the 1990 recession. So when the recession hit, there was a lot of houses that were affected. And my household, unfortunately, was one of them. And I had it in my heart that my father's a businessman now. He's got his own building company. So he does like a residential builds and that. And he was doing that at the time. He was working for a very successful construction company. The construction company went bust, and it was like a ripple effect where my dad lost his job. My dad used to drive 3 Mercedes cars. My dad had 3 Mercs. And it was the fact that the bank came in, it came under new management at the time, and then they took the house away. And I was really a kid at the time, and that kind of mindset was stuck here. And it was like, I want to have something where I can, like give my parents their dream home back,
Right.
and at the same time, I wanted to ensure that that I studied correctly, and I wanted to make sure that the study that I did, that it will benefit me going forward. Now, the funny thing was that I'm not academically that well educated because I dropped out of college. And the reason for that was because I wanted to earn money so that I can fulfill that dream for my parents. You see, mine was more of a personal thing where I wanted to make money, and the driving force was money at that time. And it was that in 2005, we ended up having a big deposit, and we ultimately achieved our goal. And it was that I brought my parents, or me and my sisters, we were all pulled together, and we brought our family home again. But the thing was, I was a musician at the time, so I was doing a lot of drumming across the UK. I've done gigs in Germany as well. So during that period of 15 years hardship, I was going to work, I was doing overtime, and then I was a trained musician where I'll go out and I'll go to weddings and parties and I'll perform, playing my drums, and I would earn about 100, 150 pounds at a time. So in one weekend, I might have about 3-4 gigs, and you can just calculate that, it's about 600 pounds. So I would then I would then just bank all that money. And my parents used to say to me, Rod, you're very tight with your money. I was like, yeah, don't worry, it's going to come to fruition one day. And it did come to fruition when we put the money down. Yeah. So that was my driving force behind that. Yeah. So it's a bit of a personal story behind that.
Oh, look, it's always great, especially when it's coming from an authentic place, because that's like the motive, that's the driving factor for you to push even harder. So I absolutely remember back in the 90s, because, of course, as I shared with you, I do have family in England as well. So, we have them around, Manchester area as well. So I totally remember that. So when I come back, we're going to definitely have to go and get some fish and chips and all of that good stuff.
Most definitely. But
Yes.
I'm looking. I love the States, and I would love to come to the States, and you could show me
Yeah.
around in the States as well. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yes, absolutely. Trust me, we're extending and bridging that gap, and we absolutely love it. And, definitely, an emotional story, it touches your heart, because, there are a lot of people that could actually, empathize with you, and share the same, right along the same lines of experiences, especially coming from hardships. And now you're here and you're helping others so they too can have their vision come to full fruition. So thank you for sharing that story with us. So tell us, how did you come up with the name for your company, Exclusive PR UK?
Okay, again, everything that I do has a reason behind it, and it's got a mission behind it as well. So I'm a UK Punjabi born, and I listen to a lot of Punjabi music. And as I've been growing up, the Punjabi traditional music's changed vastly, and the way we market now has changed as well. So growing up, you could go out, buy a cassette, you see a poster, and you buy a cassette, you listen to it, and then when there was a band going to gigs, you actually go and purchase a ticket and go to a show. Nowadays, you listen to music videos, you listen to a track, you look at all the PR hype, and then you go to a gig if it's a massive client, if it's like a massive artist. Now, so what happened was, when I was actually thinking about my name, I thought, how can I make my company different to everybody else? Now, I wanted to give artists, right, exclusivity. So the idea was that every artist, right, if they are reachable, right, they're not exclusive. So my idea was that my thinking behind it was, the more exclusive you are, the more money you can demand. And the more exclusive you are, the more easier it is for you to get into the media, because then the media will approach you rather than you approaching the media. So I thought to myself that if I get clients, I'm not going to have them go out easily and have them easily reachable. So the idea was to keep them exclusive, so that if somebody wants them for a booking, we could charge a premium rate, rather than if they're here, there, and everywhere, then your rate is, you're kind of watering it down a little bit. You see, then you're not able to charge the fee that you want. So that's how the name came about. And then I used that same ethos and the same method going into business on the corporate side. So any businesses that want to work with us, we have exclusive strategies that are very innovative and creative. And part of my strapline is quality, creative, innovative. And we are a very innovation-based company where we do a lot of different things. And I don't know if you saw in my story, I just created myself a Facebook QR code, and it's very easy to do. And if anybody wants that, yeah, so including yourself, I will sort one out for you for your Facebook page. I thought you went out. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Anyway, but yeah, absolutely, and I love it, because everything that you do is all about branding, 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 and when you see, it's exclusive PR, and for me, just being affiliated with you, and of course we met on the infamous Clubhouse, in our group, and we'll talk about that a little bit, because we also have a meeting right after that to get into 3 p.m. Our time, 8 p.m. your time, but it's amazing, what I've learned from, the circle that we're in, and, branding is definitely important. And I appreciate you for sharing all your methods with us, and what you explained about exclusivity. That is something that I try to implement with our, music company now, because when you're thinking about it, the artists, they're not, a lot of people don't do artist development anymore, which is, I think, part of the issue, and I know we kind of agreed on that when we were in a room together before. And, artists are not understanding their worth right now. They're so quick to, oh, yes, I'm going to do this gig. And, they're not talking it over with their management team, and, making sure that this event that you're trying to do, let's make sure that it's something that's going to benefit you. Not that you're better than anybody else. However, you have to know that you have a worth. You are worthy of so much, and this is why we're developing you. We believe in the talent that you have, and we want to make sure that you're marketed correctly. So I'm glad that you touched on that exclusivity and making sure that you get that premium price. Ding, ding, ding. These are all tips for you guys. So
Yeah.
we're writing them down. Thank you for sharing that. Now, why did you pursue a career in PR?
Um, I've always been in music, and I've always been interested in glam and how to get the glamorous side of it. How do you get famous, right? And I've been in the music industry since 2004. I met a guy at some. We had this procession in the UK, and for the Sikh community, it happens every 13th, 14th of April because it's a Sikh New Year. So what happens is the massive Sikh community gets together, and then they do this massive procession. Sikh cars come out with the flags, and just have like a great time, right? So I was in Southall and I met a guy, and he's been one of my best friends. I've known him for over 20 years now. And me and him went into the studio, and it was like, how can we market this? And I've been in music for a very, very long time, and I've always had an interest in the public media. How do you get on TV? How do you get in the press? How do you get on radio? So what happened was I happened to get that one little break where I worked for a company called PR That. And I was working because me as an artist at the time, I was releasing my own debut single, because my artist affiliate is known as Dream Beats. And basically, I was launching my debut single into the Punjabi music market, and I was looking for a PR company. Someone headhunted me and then employed me as one of their PR guys. So I was like an account manager and a plugger. So every client that came on board off that company, I marketed very, very successfully, and I marketed them to a point where people were taking notice. There was eyeballs on that particular project. And what I personally found was fulfillment, because me as an artist, right, marketing my own music as well, I learned how to get into the press, how to market, and how to be a little bit different. And obviously, since 2012 to now, I've gained a massive list. And during that period as well, I've learned other strategies. Now, for example, I'll give you one. I was in the room yesterday. Actually, it's the same music room that we were in today, the networking room. And there was an artist in there, and I just asked the question to all the artists, right? How are you capturing emails for your fan base? They didn't have a strategy, right? Wow. And I asked them. I mean, they did, but the strategy was a bit like hit and miss. But I said to them, I goes, have you thought about does anyone know what a squeeze page is? And everybody said, no, what is a squeeze page? So I said, a squeeze page is a one-page website where you have a funnel and you are giving something away for free in order for you to entice your fan base to give your email address for that free product. So, for example, you can run a competition. Say you're going to give free Beat headphones away. They will cost you $300. But imagine if you got 1,000 emails come through your funnel. Those 1,000 emails, you can then set up a newsletter on the back end, and you can market your music as well directly to your fan base, right, into the inbox. So what that does right here is that although you spent $300 of giving away the headphones, those 1,000 emails are going to have more value because they're going to end up purchasing your tickets to your shows where you're going to get paid. They're going to end up purchasing and streaming your music, your merchandise. You see, so artists need to think like a business. And I think for me, that's what I've evolved into now. So my marketing is really evolutionary, I would like to say, very innovative. And so we have.
You see, that's that look when the light bulb goes off. I'm like,
So what we tend to do, right, is that we tend to have we've also got different revenue streams now for artists, right? In the UK now, I'm trying to build partnerships with certain people so I can offer artist funding, but the thing is, the funding is only available to UK-based residents at the moment. I'm trying to find out if there's a way where I can help artists from the States, because I've been getting a lot of interest from artists in the States and they have lack of funding. So I'm trying to find a way where we can actually bridge that gap between the United States and the UK and see if there's any funding available. That way we can actually help artists. So I'm trying to figure out something where artists can come here potentially, and the costs are very billed, and then they come here, do their shows, and they can go back home with money in their pocket. I'm trying to figure something out here at the moment.
Right.
But
we're definitely working together, because the we were discussing in the networking group a lot of issues that the artists are seeing, and thank heavens for individuals like yourself and myself and our teams that back us and our networking circle, that we have some great minds that are coming together to help these artists do these 360 contracts. And a lot of people don't read the thin exactly. They don't read the fine prints. And some people are looking at like 80/20, but then you are pretty much getting 80% and the company's getting 20%, but what you're getting is just to utilize the company's name, and you're coming out
Yeah.
of pocket yourself just because you're utilizing a name that's well known. And essentially you're still a striving and starving artist, because and technically you're still independent even though you're assigned to a label, because you're doing and funding everything for yourself.
Yeah.
So these are the things that we're trying to educate the artists on. And sometimes it's hard, especially when they see the big names, and everything that glitters is not
Yeah.
necessarily gold.
I mean, like, to be fair, Michelle, right? In the Asian music scene, yeah, it's pretty cutthroat. If I'm honest, right? What actually happens is that artists are not given much in terms of like the major labels in the Asian music scene are pretty small compared to like BMI and let's say, sorry, not BMI, Sony and labels like that, because we've got Universal India, right? And Universal India are pretty big, but they're one of the most major labels. But some of the labels are globally in the Asian music scene. Even if you go to India, you've got labels like you got T Series, you got Tips, you got Speed Records, right? These record labels, and even in the UK, you got like Music Box, right? What they do is they expect an artist to come with a whole package. So you got to have your music video ready. You got to have a fully mastered, mixed, and ready to go album or a single. You got to have all your artwork ready. All they're going to do for you is probably spend about £300-400 on a TV advert, right, and get your video on TV. That's it, right? And they will take majority, if not all, of your income, and they will say, "We're investing £400 in you. We got to make that money back. So we're going to make it back through the sales, streaming, and any shows you're part of. We want X percentage." They take a higher percentage. So they leave an artist, right, with next to nothing income. And what that means is there's no ROI model, right? So my record label now, Audio Replay, that actually offers the artist 100%. And so the reason why I give 100% is because it's a return on investment model. So if you're investing in yourself, right, why should I take 80% of your income or 90% of your income? You've actually invested 5, 6, 10 grand in your project. You've paid me 2,000-3,000 to do your PR. You've paid me to do your music videos, right? So you spent me 8 grand with me, right? How can I take your money plus take an 80%, 90%? So I say, okay, you invest 8-10 grand in your project. I will give you 100% back, right, through 5 different revenue streams. So then we look at different revenue streams for artists, how we can make them more money rather than making them okay money, if that makes sense.
Right.
So,
and then this is not just, nationally, you're actually taking them, globally, because you're international. So this is like a bigger scene for them. So definitely, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the summit, because we're going to get that summit together and we're going to educate these artists, because we need, people like yourselves and of course our team to let them know what is beneficial, and they have to understand the financial parts of it, because I think that's part of the issue when it comes to this music industry. A lot of people are not financially literate, understanding everything that comes with it. So that's like a whole nother topic. So with that being said, I appreciate you, definitely pursuing your career in PR, because you're actually a staple now in this industry and very well respected. So tell me how you would describe public relations for, in layman terms, for somebody to understand.
Okay, so public relations is a connection between the audience and, let's say, the product or the brand. So it's about, there's 2 ways that you can look at public relations, right? You can look at negative press or PR, and you can look at positive press and PR. So the prime example I'm going to give you now is, I was in the room today actually talking about public relations, and the best example I can give is soccer. Now, here in the UK, there was 6 football teams that were going to split away from the Premier League. And the Premier League is a multi-billion, if not multi-trillion pound business globally, right? Now, the top 6 clubs are actually owned by billionaires, and 5 of the top 6 are owned by Americans, okay? And what happened was the main driving club was Manchester United. Now, Manchester United, their owners are 3, I think there's 3 brothers, or 1 or 2 brothers, but they're known as the Glazier family, and they're known to be pretty rich in America as well, and they own Man United, right? So what they were trying to do was they were trying to take away the football from the fans. And by doing that, they were going to ruin the pyramid of football globally and in the UK. So when that got out, the amount of negative press that got was unprecedented. And for the first time in the history of football, fans came together, united, and they stopped it, right? So what that did was, for every football club, it was negative press. But how did they turn the negativity back into positivity? Now, this is where the Glazers were very, very clever. They came out with a statement, but the statement wasn't good enough. Okay, the fans were like, it's not good enough, we need more. So what happened was, they said, okay, we're going to invest in the club, and we're going to give you fans the players that you want. So they went out and they spent, I think, over 120 million pounds on 3 players. So they went out and brought Rafa Varane, they went out and got Jadon Sancho, and they went out and got Cristiano Ronaldo. The fans were happy, the shirt sales came in, and just off one player, they made 13.6 million in one day. Wow. I think it was in one day, right? So just off Cristiano Ronaldo alone, they made 13.6 million just off that one player. Now, the Glazers are known to be businessmen, right? And they are known to only care about money. They don't care about football. But what they did was, they gave the fans what they wanted, and that negative press that they had back in April, May, it got turned into a positive. The fans have forgotten about it now. So that is how you manipulate the press. And it's no different in business, right? And it's no different in music, because if an artist has done something wrong, an artist can come out with a statement and say, I'm sorry, I apologize, I was naive, and you turn that into a positive. Or, like, for example, in India, there was an artist called Honey Singh. He's a producer. Now, he had a lot of negative press around him because in India, right, yeah, the government are pretty, I don't want to be too controversial here, right? But in India, right, yeah, it's very different in terms of the mindset, right? And Honey Singh was becoming very, very successful. He's a number 1 producer in India right now, and he does hip hop and he does Afrobeat music, and he's in Bollywood, right? He's not even 30, I think, and he's got a penthouse for the helipad. That's how successful he is, right? And he sold one of his tracks for £200,000 to Bollywood alone, and rupees, that's in millions, right? so he's very, very successful, right? Very, very successful. And the thing was, right, he had a lot of negative press. There was this thing that came out where he was accused of rape, and he was accused of drug abuse, but it wasn't the case. It was like negative, it was fake news, as they called it, right? So he had to turn it into a positive. See, so he came out and he made a statement, and he said, no, I don't know why people are hating me, but my music speaks for itself. And yes, some of my music is controversial, but at the end of the day, he connected with the audience, he connected with his fans, and he explained himself. So I think PR, right, it can work in both ways. It can be negative and positive. Now, as an artist, you want to use that as a positive to gain positivity about you and your brand, because you want the press to talk about you and what other people say about you. So, for example, if you listen to someone like, let's say, Beyonce, right? Beyonce now, right, is a brand. She's got a lot of positive press around her, right? If there is any negative press, it will be quickly turned into a positive because her brand is so big, right? And that's how I perceive PR to be. And that's my understanding of PR, because it's that connection between your audience and and you as a brand, and how you perceive your message out to your audience into the public domain.
That's very, very detailed. I like that. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So what then would you say is the difference between PR and advertising?
Okay, PR is more in the public domain. Advertising, you would say, is something like you would put on TV for. It's like selling a product. So let's say you got an advert of your track, right? So what you would do is you will have your advert, and in the advert you will have where to buy it from. Okay, so you're basically selling a product. So you're telling people where to go to purchase a particular product or brand, right? Whereas with public relations, you're actually speaking on behalf of the brand. So you're talking on behalf of the brand and you're perceiving a message to the audience to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I've done. Come and check me out. Whereas advertising is like you're selling that brand's product. So there's two differences there.
Very, 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 very interesting. Yeah, because a lot of people tend to, get the two lines crossed a lot, So thank you for, clarifying that for us. So how do you use social media to reach and impress traditional media?
Okay, I think they both work very well hand in hand because one cannot do without the other. So traditional media, I would say, will be radio and TV. You need that. You need press. Because some people are traditional, for example, like myself, if I see a newspaper, I will pick it up and I read it on the way to work, or I would read it when I'm like going somewhere, or on the way home from the office. I might just pick up a newspaper and I'd like to read it. There might be some interesting news in there. But I'd like to think that social media is one tool of many to use for marketing, and I believe that social media presence is good. But I honestly believe having a great optimized website will be more powerful than having a blue tick platform with loads of followers. Because I think the number metrics is good, because the only thing that does is it just gives you presence. That's it. Social media numbers doesn't guarantee you sales. It doesn't guarantee you people are going to buy your music and your merchandise, right? What guarantees you merchandise and people buying your music is if your music's good. And secondly, if you have a strategy of telling people where to go to get your music or giving value back to your audience. Now, there are certain artists, right, that will give free merch, right, in exchange for an email, or they will give certain free access to certain parts of their, like, for example, you could win like a backstage pass with these artists, right? So you can see how an artist prepares to go on stage. You could get to meet and greet the artist like behind stage, take pictures, get signed autographed t-shirts or tops or something. Exclusivity, is really, really important. And I think if you offer that to your fan base through your website, it doesn't really matter how many fans you have on your social media. That is it's a good tool to use. However, I mean, I see some people have got 80, 90,000 followers, right? Are you telling me that all 90,000 are going to buy your music? Are all 90,000 going to stream your music or buy your merch? No. You'll be lucky if 2% of that buys it. You'll be very lucky. Correct. So it's good for presence. I'm not knocking it. It's very, very good for presence. But I think don't put all your eggs in one basket. Focus on having a really good website and then get ranked on Google. Yeah, because Google's where you want to be. If you're on Google, everything else will follow, and it's like a nice little ripple effect. So that will be more beneficial to you rather than focusing all your eggs on Instagram or TikTok and thinking, I'm going to get big. It's not going to work that way.
Correct. And, because not, like you said, 2% of that number may truly engage with you, and we see it a lot on Clubhouse, and that's why they do it. Hey, the algorithm, and let's engage. You have to make sure you're commenting and you're liking, because it is all a part of it. If you're just sitting there, you're actually dead weight. You're just there for the, the cosmetics of it. So absolutely.
I mean, this whole thing about the algorithm as well, it's a myth, because now imagine a clock, right? Now this is how I look at the algorithm, right? Now imagine a clock, right? The clock's got so many mechanisms to make those handles work, right? So you got the two handles, the two hands that give you the time, right? And all the mechanisms that are behind it are actually making those hands work. That's how the algorithm is. Now, for example, I'll give you Instagram, right? Instagram has got, I bet you didn't know this, right? Is that Instagram has got it's got different algorithms for different features on Instagram, right? So what I mean by that is stories, IG, reels, the guides, the carousels, the feed, right? That's 6 features, right? They all have different algorithms. And the way it works, right, is that you'll never get around it, because if somebody tells you, I get around the algorithm and I'll help you grow your page, they're lying, because that does not work, because the algorithms every second is changing. And they're changing because they want you as a consumer or you as a business to purchase ads. They want you to pay for ads to grow your page. That's what it is. So the idea for them, don't forget, Instagram and Facebook and social media platforms are all businesses. They want to make money because you're using their platform for free. How are they going to make their money back is through ads. So in order for you to grow your page, they will suppress your page for a bit. They will give you a lot of traction on your page or on some of your posts and say, hey, this page is doing well. But in matter of fact, if you do a post boost, that's not going to benefit your page at all. You're just going to get a boost on that one particular page, but your post, but your page ain't going to grow. In order to grow your page organically, you've got to have unique content, and you've got to have content that's going to resonate with your audience, and that will slowly grow onto the Explore page. Now, my page last year was going on the Explore page, and I was getting blue tick people commenting on my posts, trying to sabotage my business. So I was like, what are you guys doing? And I blocked them because these blue tickers might have all this stuff, but no one's engaging on their platform. You see, so it makes a massive difference. I had blue tick people looking at my stories, like Jay Sean was one of them. You know, the Cray twins were one of them. You know, and the Cray twins are pretty well renowned in the UK. They are, I think they're grime or hip hop producers. Jay Sean was a R&B singer, but he signed to Cash Money Records now, I think, or he might still be there. But yeah, so these are the kind of people that were coming through my algorithm and they were looking at my posts in my story. You see, and the blue tickers. So sometimes small numbers, it doesn't matter. Just focus on your product, focus on quality, focus on what you're doing is your music, and leave the marketing to the professionals like us, I would say.
Absolutely. Yes, I check on that one. Thank you for sharing. So, what areas of PR or communications do you see growing, being important in the future?
Okay, this is a good question, actually. I see video absolutely blowing up because, as you can see, like we're doing that right now. So we are communicating via a video platform. And I think audio is going to be pretty big as well. I think podcasts are going to be pretty big in the next year or two. I think it's going to be pretty big. But I think video is still ahead of audio at the moment because if you look at YouTube, I think YouTube's got something like 40 million accounts or 40 million vloggers on there, whereas the podcast have got something like, I think it's 2 million. So it's like, this is the audio podcast, so it's pretty far behind. It's fairly new, but I can see video getting even bigger because in the last year, during the pandemics and lockdowns, people were becoming innovative and people were designing courses and products and doing live courses on IG and Facebook and LinkedIn, and people were using the video platform so much so that it became a business for them, a full-time business. I mean, I've got a friend who started a drum class on IG. He's now setting up a subscription-based business. You see, so he's basically innovated, and that's only because of the videos. So, so I can see video growing. The other two, I think, that are going to grow a lot is augmented reality and virtual reality as well. It's going to come to a point where I want you to present myself. I can have augmented character of myself here presenting to an audience. I want you to be there. So that's going to be the way of the future. Augmented and virtual reality is going to be pretty big, but I think video is going to continue growing, and it's been growing since 2016, 17. I think it's been growing very, very much. And I think in the last year or so, it's exploded because of lockdowns and people's innovation came into play. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yep, it definitely has. So tell me, with that being said, and this is kind of like off the hue, we're both very, known on Clubhouse. And with that, along the same line of question, what do you see in Clubhouse future? Do you think they're actually going to eventually implement videos? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, we're tired of just, speaking and, it's getting boring. But then you have a lot of people that are in rooms and it's beneficial for them because they still have that privacy of being behind, the door per se, but still have a voice. So do you see them actually implementing some form of a video in the near future?
I'm not sure they might, because I think Clubhouse is pretty different because it's very similar to podcasting. And I think that people are more comfortable and more confident when they're not seeing anyone that they don't know. So it's like getting on stage and you're talking to someone. Now, can you imagine if there's 20, 30 cameras that are on and you're having to pitch on stage to 20, 30 cameras? I think that would be quite daunting, and I think it would be a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, and these people you don't even know. You don't even know these people from around the world. But when it's audio, I think the person's in their comfort. You could sit in your nightgown. You can sit scruffy. You don't have to be polished, and you don't have to look in a presentable way. You could just sit how you want. You could wear what you want. My beard could be all over the place, you know, and nobody will know. But whereas when you're on the video like this, you have to be a little bit more presentable because you're representing your brand or your business. I think Clubhouse might stick to audio for now, I think. And they may take feedback from rooms, maybe. They may take feedback from people and say, okay, we could probably do like a test pilot and see how that goes. But video may come into Clubhouse. You never know. You never know. It might do.
Yeah. I see it maybe for seminars because a lot of people are doing the seminars and stuff like special occasions, but we'll see. Just a little jug. Okay, so knowing that you have a huge background in music and a love for the music industry, and you are a producer, can you tell us the best marketing strategies a music artist should implement?
Okay, firstly, I think an artist needs to do their research and homework. Because I've spoken to a lot of artists in the last 3 months, and a lot of them just have music out there. Okay, but there's no strategy behind what happens when your music's out there. What do you do after? And it's like they're expecting people to approach them, whereas it should be the other way around. So I would strongly suggest that an artist needs to firstly look at their audience, look at who they're targeting, right? And then look at themselves as a brand. And I think the branding is quite important as well, because a lot of artists nowadays don't have logos. I mean, you don't have to have a logo, but a logo helps identify who you are, because you could be sitting behind that brand, but you're the face of that brand, if that makes sense. So if you look at someone like Steve Jobs, he was the face of Apple. You know, Bill Gates is the face of Microsoft, and Richard Branson is the face of Virgin. So these are big brands, but they have a face behind the brand. So I would say that myself, like, I'm the face of my brand and you're the face of your brand. So I think an artist needs to have some form of brand identity, and I think that helps because then it helps identify the artist. And I think also having a target audience, you need to know who you're targeting your music to, because if you're just going out there and you're thinking that everyone's going to pick it up, you're hitting darts in the dark. And what that means is that you're going to miss the bullseye. What you want to do is hit the bullseye the first time you release your music. So the idea is, right, to get your audience on point, get your strategy on point, get your branding on point, get your image as well. I think image is quite important. Get that on point, and then look at building a team. And I think not on your first release, because I think sometimes it's not necessarily important, but I think look at building a team going forward, because having a record label, having a manager, a PR agency, you know, an A&R team. So you've got different people doing different things. You can then focus on your art. You see, then you've got a structure, right? After having a structure, you can then think about, okay, how am I going to get myself out there now? Social media is just one way. Getting your music out is another way, through a label. But how are you going to get into the press? You see, so you got to leverage your social media and leverage that alongside your PR strategy. And once you're on TV and radio and in the press, you're then getting seen. What most of these artists are struggling with is that they're not getting seen. And because they're not getting seen, they're not moving forward. They're stagnant. They're staying where they are. So I feel that the public relations is the connection they need between themselves and as an artist. So that's what they need to look at, is that where's that disconnect, and then connect those dots.
Wow. Thank you. Amazing. I can't wait for this seminar. It's going to be lovely. All right. So you gave a lot of strategies that, you know, people should implement. So turning back to you, how do you market your business, and which tactics have been most successful for you?
For me, okay. So exclusive PR is about value. Okay, because what we do is we value our customers first. And what we do is we don't like to sell, because everyone that sells or is sold to, they get put off straight away. And what happens is I get a lot of emails in my inbox. Oh, do you want SEO? We can help you with ranking. Oh, do you want social media? We've seen you got X amount of followers. We can help you grow. But what value are you giving me in order for me to purchase your service? There's no value there. So I've got like a strategy now, which is going to be working very well and helping my brand grow, is that I'm offering 2 free guides. And these 2 free guides are going to help businesses grow. So one of them is to do with YouTube Shorts. So my team have done a lot of research, and one of my team members, he's actually a business coach and a digital marketing strategist, right? So I give him a lot of responsibility, and I say, go out there, do me some research. So he does some research for me, and then he brings that research to me, and then I actually curate, because I'm a very good creator. So I create these guides, which are then going to come out. And what I'm doing in essence is I'm saying, hey, here you go. Here's a free guide for you to implement YouTube Shorts for your business. But then it's like, how do you implement it? You come to me and you pay me a service, a decent rate, and we can implement that for you. You see, so it kind of like works in a way where I'm offering value. If you want to implement that value, we have a done for you service. You can come to us. We can have a 30-minute free consultation, and then we can have a chat, and then we can look at how we can help you. And then if you're comfortable with us, we can do like a client relationship building, and then you can sign contracts, and then we can start working with you. And I've got another guide to do with Pinterest, which is going to be coming out very soon. I'm halfway through creating it, and it's going to be coming out pretty soon. And that's another strategy that I'm using at the moment myself for Google, funny enough. So
yes, we must speak. We must speak. We must speak. Absolutely. I love it. I saw it all. I'm like, what is he doing now? This one. So yes, absolutely love it. And I'm happy that you talked about the complimentary information that you're giving out, and I know you do the complimentary 30-minute consult. So a lot of information, guys. So make sure you guys are writing this down, because this, like I said, he's a guru. Okay, and I will not steer you wrong. That's why I'm here myself, because he's going to steer me in the right direction. We're going to do some amazing things together. So make sure you're taking notes, guys. Yes, I love it. So what has been your most satisfying moment in business?
For me, it is seeing businesses grow. And the reason for that is because, as I explained a little bit earlier in the interview, that my father lost everything. So for me, is that if I can help a business grow, I will. And humbly, I say that because last year in lockdown, I had loads of friends that were struggling with their social media platforms. Some of them came to me and said, Raj, I've been told that you're the recommended person to speak to. I had a chat with them, very simple, basic tweaks to their social media marketing, and they are now growing their social media platforms. One of my friends, actually, we're going to do an IG live pretty soon. She does Forex trading, and she was struggling. And I gave her a simple tweak. I said, offer value. What are you doing? Why are you not offering value? You're putting TikTok videos up about you. That's fine, because people want to see who they're connecting with, because people buy from people. But I said, what you need to do is you need to tweak your social media, offer value. If you start offering value, you will see growth. And she goes, wow. She goes, she's grown. She was stuck at about 900. She's grown to 1,300 followers now on her Instagram. Amazing. Right? So, and it's growing nicely. And she's now gonna, I was speaking to her yesterday. I said, now, why don't you offer a course on show people how to trade? I said, you can set up your own business and get people to come through your funnel, buy your subscription, and you give them like a pre-recorded video of you showing them how to do trading. I go, there's a business model right there. And she was like, yeah, actually, it's a good idea. I said, you can make loads of money from that. But what you got to do is you got to give a free guide on showing people what they need to do in terms of to do the trading correctly. And that free guide, then you will build an email address where you can then sell your, a mailing list where you can then sell your courses to. They've got your guide, but what they're going to do with the guide, how they're going to implement it, you then sell the course to them. You see, so I feel that I've helped a lot of businesses grow during lockdown. I've helped social media platforms go from 0 to 700 plus. They've gone on to make money. I've got another friend who started a perfume business. She's stuck out about 730 because she hasn't put any more content up, but she's making loads of money. She's always putting up stories that she sells. She's sending out parcels of perfumes. I had another friend of mine. I helped her set up her shop. She was selling Avon products, and she was selling them directly from Instagram. So I helped her set up her Instagram shop with some basic advice and guidance, and she ran with it. she set her shop up and she started making money. So yeah, I mean, if you look at my social media platforms, I have loads of free value and loads of free tips, and it's just full of knowledge for people to use. And yeah, I mean, go ahead and check it out, and who knows?
Yes,
You know,
please
so.
do. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. All right. So we're going to share all your information when we close. But
Sure.
this is something that we both love, and we're both a part of an amazing group on Clubhouse, the
Yeah.
Mendable app. We
Yeah.
are going to tell you it's Mendable app on Instagram, but on Clubhouse, it's the Mendable group.
Yeah.
And that group focuses on mental health awareness. And the main focus are our men and how it affects men. So tell us what this group means to you, and should there be more awareness on this topic and why?
Okay. So firstly, the Mendable group, and or should I say, the Mendable brand, I stumbled upon it by accident. So she's become a very good friend of mine. So Sophia May, last year, I was just messaging her, and she came across my profile. I came across hers. She liked my page, and she's a blue tick artist. She's a Billboard artist, #1 Billboard artist. So she's very, very successful. Very humble person. Very nice person. And we were just chatting on Instagram, and we got to know each other. She would post on my stuff, and she would like my posts, and and it was just like offering support to each other. And every single time she put a video out, I'll be, wow, I love this, I put it in my story, and we became good friends. And then I think it was around about November time last year, she was on Clubhouse, and I was like, how do I get on here? And she was like, you need to be invited. And at the time, Clubhouse didn't have Android users; they only had iOS users at the time. So what happened was, I only came onto Clubhouse in June this year, right? Because what happened was, she goes, Raj, she goes, you really need to come tonight to the Clubhouse room. She goes, you will really enjoy it. She goes, set up an account. I'll send you an invite. So I was like, oh my God, I was so humbled that she sent me an invite and invited me to come to Clubhouse. And that's where that stemmed from. And I've grown my community on Clubhouse to 1,600 followers since June the 18th, right. And I'm really, really humbled on that. And I'm really happy at the fact that people are liking my content, they're supporting, and I'm hoping I can give back. Now, in terms of what men's mental health means to me, it's very personal, because I've had some personal issues myself in the past, as I have my cousin. So it's quite a family, personal thing to me. So hence why I'm there every Monday and Thursday, 8 p.m. DST. I think it's 3 p.m. your time, or Eastern time. So yeah, I'll be there again tonight. Yeah, I'll be there definitely tonight. But in terms of, I think there should be a lot more awareness for men, I think, because there's a lot of free space for women, but I think there's not enough space for men to express how they feel. And I think it's more so that I think in the Asian Indian community, it can get very difficult, because in our community, it is perceived that men shouldn't be upset or cry, shouldn't talk, should be strong, powerful men. And I feel that Mendable have given that space now to men from all communities, all backgrounds, to actually talk openly about how they feel. It doesn't matter what race or background they come from. And that's what I love about the actual brand, is that they don't actually discriminate against age, race, or even disability, right? So that's what I love about it. It's very diverse, and it's very open to everyone. And I think
family.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they're doing something for women soon, which I'm going to be supporting as well, because I think women need to have a space to talk as well. So I'm looking forward to that space when they actually create it. So it'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Because they do in the group give us the opportunity, women to speak. But we always uplift the men first so that we could hear them, and then we give our input. And I cannot wait to have Jahan on, because I invited him on the platform, and he wanted to wait a little bit until of course, we know his speech is getting better every week. So I don't want to cry. So I just cannot wait. And we're gonna do like a group thing. So I'm thinking of inviting her, yourself, and Jahan on, and her husband, and her father, all at the same time, so we could just do a group thing and talk about it and let the world know what Mendable is about, because it's amazing. I love the group. We're a family. And yeah, I can't wait to see what's going on today. So tell me,
Yeah.
if you had the opportunity to give your younger self advice, what would that advice be?
Um, I should have done this earlier. I should have got into the marketing arena a little bit earlier, I think. I got into it in 2015, actually. And that was from a personal experience as well. I had a bit of a hard time in 2014. I was out of work from 2008 till about 2014. And then I set up my agency through a bit of support, family support. I went away on holiday, came back, and then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it, and I set up my agency in 2014. So it's been running since then. But perhaps maybe in hindsight, I should have done it a little bit earlier because I was younger and I was a bit more hungrier, and I was earning okay money back then as well. It wasn't too bad. But I think, you know what? As you grow up, they say that you get more wisdom, isn't it? So I suppose that it's never too late to start something. And I always say that to any entrepreneur, that it's never too late to start anything. However, to my younger self, perhaps maybe I should have done this a little bit earlier. But I'm here now.
Awesome. That is definitely great advice, not only for you, but also for, anyone that has a vision and the drive to succeed. Don't give up because you think, oh, it's
Yeah,
too late. Like you just stated, and to reiterate, it's never too late. Start
yeah,
now. And,
yeah,
to that younger person out there that's looking, start now.
yeah,
It's start now, believe in yourself, and, put the same faith that you have
yeah.
in whatever your spirituality or your religion is, the same faith that you give that, put it into yourself as well, because you are that driving force. You have to encourage you to take the next step. So
Yeah.
please share your social handles at this time for our viewers, and the best way that they could contact you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so my the best place you could get me is actually on Instagram, and that's exclusive PR UK on Instagram. You can get me on exclusive PR on Facebook, um, exclusive PR on Pinterest, and you can check me out at Raj Singh on LinkedIn as well. So I'm on those four platforms. I'm actually setting up a YouTube channel pretty soon, and I will be giving away loads of free content on there as well. So loads of free marketing tips, and do check us out on
Yeah.
there as well at some point. Thank you.
Awesome. No problem. But thank you again, Raj, for joining us and sharing knowledge about marketing and business with our viewers as well as myself. And guys, until next time, it's always a pleasure. This is your host, Michelle Diamond, and the amazing Raj Singh from Exclusive PR, and that's Exclusive PR with an X. Okay, so
With
until
an X.
next time, this segment was brought to you by, of course, Exclusive PR, myself, Next Level Promotion, and definitely InDaHouse Media, and our partner, the Lake Pavilion. Until next time, guys, bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.